Welcome back to Cowboys Insiders, everybody here. Hope you are all having a great day wherever you are watching from. Today we have got some huge Dallas Cowboy news to break down, including the latest updates surrounding the NFL draft, franchise move, and what this team could look like heading into the new season. If you love Cowboys football, make sure you hit that on subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss any updates about the Dallas Cowboy. So now let's get straight into today's big story surrounding the Dallas Cowboy on Cowboys Insiders. The future of NFL is being reshaped right in front of the eyes, and every franchise across the league knows one thing. If you dominate the NFL draft, you give yourself a chance to dominate the next decade. The NFL draft has become more than just a 3 days event, but it is now heartbeat of every organization's long-term vision. The foundation of championship roster and the battlefield where dynasty are either built or destroyed. From a blockbuster trade to franchise quarterback, an elite edge rusher, shoot-down corner, and explosive wide receiver, every selection carries a pressure, expectations, and the hope of the millions of the fans across the league. As teams continue building their roster for the future, several franchises are entering a critical era that could define their success for years to come. Front offices are becoming more aggressive, scouting departments and are working harder than ever, and coaches are searching for players who can immediately transform the culture inside the locker room. Around the league, the pressure is enormous because fans is no longer want a patience. They want instant result, playoff appearance, and Super Bowl contention. The biggest storyline surrounding the NFL draft continues to revolve around franchise quarterback. So in today's NFL, everything changes when a team finds a light quarterback. A single draft pick can completely alter the directions of organization. We have seen it happen with teams that went from struggling franchises to championship contenders. Almost every night with the team that went the struggling franchise to championship contender almost overnight because they found the leader under a center. So every general manager understands what without an elite quarterback competing consistently in the modern NFL become nearly impossible for a Super Bowl contender. Several organizations entered this draft season desperate, searching for the game-changing, a signal caller, a team with aging quarterback, unstable offenses, or disappointing seasons are now investing heavily in young talent capable of becoming the face of the franchise. Scouts are studying every throw, every workout, and every interview, and every small detail because the margin for error is laser thin. Missing any quarterback can set franchise back for years, while drafting the light can completely transform the future of organization. At the same time, defensive talent has become equally valuable. Pass rushers are now considered premium assets because of how explosive modern offenses have become. A team know that if they cannot pressure an elite quarterbacks, they simply cannot survive a deep into the playoff. And edge rushers with a speed, power, and athleticism are being viewed as franchise changing, a player capable of anchoring defenses for the next 10 years. Across the league, franchises are also prioritizing offensive line protection more than ever before. The physical demands of the NFL continue to increase, and protecting a young quarterback has become one of the highest priorities in the football. So the organizations are investing first round picks into offensive tacklers who can dominate a pass protection while also creating a lens in the learning of the game. Teams understand that championship are won in the trenches, and the draft is the best opportunity to strengthen those areas. Another major storyline is the rise of aggressive front offices willing to trade a massive draft capital in order to secure an elite talent. A franchise execution no longer wait patiently hoping their preferred player falls to them. Instead, a team are moving up the board, sacrificing future picks and taking calculated risks to acquire a players they believe can become a superstar. This aggressive strategy has completely changed an atmosphere surrounding the draft night, turning into one of the most unpredictable events in the sport or in the National Football League. The importance of the player development has also become a critical for every franchise. Drafting a talent is is only part of the equation. Organization also must create a winning environment where a young player can grow into a star, and coaching staff and offensive system also, the defensive schemes, locker room culture, and the leadership all play massive roles in determining whether a prospect reaches his full potential. Some franchises consistently maximize a talent because of the strong development system, while others continue struggling despite draft highly talented players. One of the most fascinating aspects of today's NFL is how quickly a youngster are expected to produce. So the fans and analysts no longer give a rookie multiple years to adjust. First round picks are expected to contribute an immediate, especially a quarterbacks, a wide receiver and pass rusher. The pressure pressed on these young athletes is enormous, but the league's fast-paced environment demand instantly impact a franchises investing millions of the dollar into young players expect them to become foundational pieces right away. The draft has also become a deeply connected to franchise identity, so some teams prioritize physicality and defensive dominance, while others focus on speed, explosiveness, and offensive firepower. And every organization approaches a roster building differently, but the ultimate goal remains the same: constructing a, a championship caliber teams capable of competing for a Super Bowl. The fans across the NFL are already dreaming about what their franchise could become over the new few seasons. Hope is what makes the NFL draft so powerful, and every fan base believes the next superstar could already be on their roster. Every selection brings excitement, optimism, and renewed belief that a brighter future is coming. For rebuilding franchises, the draft represents a survival. For a playoff contender, it represents the final missing pieces needed to complete for a championships. For a struggling organization, it represents redemption and fresh beginning, and for a powerhouse teams already near the top of the league. So it represents an opportunity to stay dominant while the rest of the NFL tries separate to catch up. The modern NFL is evolving faster than ever before. Offenses are becoming more explosive, defenses more versatile, and franchise more aggressive in pursuing elite talent in the NFL. The draft sits at the center of all of it. It is where a future are created, career begin, and championship dreams are born. As the next NFL era begins to take a shape, franchise across the league no there it is no room for mistake anymore. But one elite draft class can change everything. So one superstar quarterback can revive an entire city. One defensive playmaker can redefine a championship defenses. The stakes have never been higher, and that is exactly why the NFL draft continues to captivate millions of the fans every single year. On the end, the franchise that scored better, developed talent smarter, and build a strong cultures. NFL draft started, the franchise found itself standing at crossroads between continuing as a competitive team and finally transforming into a true championship contender. Over the past few seasons, the Cowboys have shown a flashes of brilliance, but they have also struggled with inconsistency, especially in the biggest moments. So that is why this draft is not just another yearly event for the Dallas. It is an opportunity to reshape the identity of the team and build a stronger foundation for the futures. At the heart of the Cowboys' current situation is their quarterback Dak Prescott. Prescott remains one of the most important figures in the franchise, a leader with experience and the ability to guide the offense when everything is functioning properly. However, even the best quarterback in the league cannot succeed without a light support around them. In a recent season, Prescott has faced a pressure due to offensive line that has not been dominant as it once was. Injury urging players and inconsistencies have weakened what used to be one of the strongest units in football. This has had direct impact not only on Prescott's performance but also on entire of offensive system. The running game is another area where the Dallas Cowboys have experienced a noticeable decline during a prime years of Ezekiel Elliott, and the team had powerful and reliable rushing attacks that could control the tempo of the game. Today, what some level of dominance is missing. While there have been moments of promise, there is no clear long-term solution at the running back position. In the modern NFL, where offensive balance is a key, having a dynamic running back who can both run effectively and contribute in the passing game is essential. This makes the draft perfect opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to address these needs and inject a new energy into the offense. When it comes to a passing game, the Cowboys are fortunate to have a true star like CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb has established himself as one of the top wide receivers in the league, capable of making a big plays and carrying significant portions of the offensive load. However, relying too heavily on a single receiver can make an offense predictable. Defenses can adjust their strategies to limit Lamb's impact, forcing other players to step up. This is why adding another wide receiver through a draft could be a crucial move. A fast and explosive players who can stretch the field would not only complement a lamb but also create more opportunities for the entire offense. On the defensive side of the ball, the Cowboys have one of the most exciting players in the NFL in the Micah Parsons. Parsons has the ability to change the outcomes of the game with his speed, strength, and versatility, and he is kind of player every team dreams to build around. However, football is a team sport, and even player of the Parsons caliber cannot do everything alone. The Cowboys' defense, while strong in certain areas, still lacks a depth and consistency in others, and strengthening the defensive line and adding a talent to a secondary could significantly improve the overall performance of the unit. As the NFL draft draws closer, the strategy of the Dallas Cowboys become a topic of intense discussions. One passing approach is to focus heavily on the offensive line, selecting a player who can immediately step in and provide protection for a Dak Prescott. Another approach would be to prioritize skills positions, such as running back or wide receiver, in order to create a more explosive offense. There is also the option of selecting the best player available regardless of position, strategy that can sometimes lead to unexpected but valuable addition to a team. The Cowboys could also consider trading down in the draft, a move that would allow them to acquire additional picks and build a depth across a multiple position. This approach requires careful planning and clear understanding of the team's long-term goals. While it may not provide an immediate impact from a single star player, it can create more balanced and complete roster over time. Ultimately, the success of this draft will depend on decisions made by the Cowboys front office and coaching staff. So every pick carries a certain level of the risk, but it also represents an opportunity. The difference between good teams and the great ones often comes down to how well franchise can identify and develop talent through the draft. For the Cowboys, this is a chance to address their weaknesses, reinforce their strength, and take significant steps forward. Looking ahead, the impact of the 2026 NFL Draft could shape the future of the Dallas Cowboys for years to come. A successful draft could elevate the team to a new level, turning them into a serious contender capable of making a deep playoff runs. On the other hand, missed opportunity could result in continued frustration and unfulfilled potential. This is what makes the draft such a pivotal moment in the NFL calendar. As fans wait to see how everything unfolds, one thing is certain: the Cowboys have pieces to complete, but they need the right addition to complete the puzzle, and the decision they make in this draft will not only influence the upcoming season but also defining the direction of the franchise moving forward. This offseason with a far more aggressive mindset than many expected. From NFL draft strategy to free agencies depth moves, from a locker room leadership questions to offensive scheme adjustment, everything happening inside the star line now suggests this organization understands the pressure to finally return to a Super Bowl contention. One of the biggest talking points surrounding the Dallas remain a quarterback, Dak Prescott, and expectations placed on him entering another critical season. Prescott continues to face enormous pressure because the Cowboys have invested heavily in him as the face of franchise, but fans are demanding a postseason result instead of a regular season dominance. Inside a league cycle, many executives still believe Dak is one of the most efficient quarterbacks when protected by a stable offensive line and supported by a balanced run game. However, critics continue pointing towards a turnover in a key moment, a red zone inconsistencies, and struggles against elite playoff defenses as the major concerns that the Dallas must overcome if they want to make a deep January run. The Cowboys coaching staff reportedly spent much of the offseason studying ways to evolve the offensive scheme into a more explosive and unpredictable attack. Expect more pre-snap motions, heavier use of the play action concepts, quicker tempo packages, and expanded vertical route tree designed to maximize mismatches against opposing secondaries. Dallas understands the modern NFL is built around offensive flexibility, and sources around the league believes the Cowboys want to create an offense capable of attacking a defenses at every level of the field instead of relying too heavily on isolation routes and conservation sequencing. A huge reason for optimism remains a superstar wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, who has evolved a yards after catch explosiveness and the ability to line up both outside and in the slot make him almost impossible to game plan against for a 4 quarters. Coaches inside the organization reportedly want to move him around even more this season to create leverage advantages and force defenses into unfavorable coverage looks. League scouts believe Lamb is entering the absolute prime of his career, and there is growing feeling that the Dallas may build the entire offensive identity around his versatility moving forward. Meanwhile, the Cowboys running back room continues to be one of the most heavily debated unit on the roster. So the Dallas has clearly been searching for a more explosiveness and consistency after struggling to establish a dominance on the ground in critical games that season. NFL insiders believe the organization wants more physical or downhill rushing identity combined with outside zone speed concept that can strengthen defenses horizontally. So the front office also appear committed to improving a short yardage efficiency. So something that became the frustrating weakness during a key moment last year. Analysts expect a Dallas to continue evaluating veteran market options while simultaneously developing a younger back who fits the new offensive philosophy. The offensive line remains another central storyline because protecting a Dak Prescott has become one of the franchise's top priorities. So injuries and inconsistencies affected the unit of different points last season, but the Cowboys still believe they possess foundational pieces capable of restoring a dominance in trenches. Dallas scout and the coaches have emphasized the versatility athleticism, and pass protection intelligence while evaluating alignment through third of season. The organization reportedly wants to rebuild the unit into a faster and more adaptable group capable of handling modern defensive pressure packages, especially against an elite NFL pass rusher. Defensively, the Cowboys continue building around superstar edge rusher Micah Parsons, who remains one of the most feared defenders in football. The Parsons has completely transformed the identity of the Cowboys defense with his elite burst crossing a speed pass rusher versatility and relentless motor. Opposing offensive coordinator now build entire protection plans around limiting his impact, yet he still consistently creates pressure and game-changing plays. Around the league, many believe Parsons is not only the cornerstone on the Cowboys defense but also one of the few defenders capable of completing taking over a playoff game by himself. There is also growing excitement surrounding a Dallas defensive depth and hybrid personnel packages. Coaches reportedly want to create a more disguised look before the snap, giving a quarterback fewer opportunities to identify the coverages and blitzes early. The Cowboys defense has become increasingly positionless in a certain situation with a linebacker and safety expected to rotate responsibilities depending on matchups. That flexibility could become one of the biggest strengths of the roster if a younger defender continues developing at the pace the organization expects. So another major focus this offseason has been improving a run defense, especially after a several physical dominance. Opponents exposed weakness in the front seven during a critical stretches of the previous season. Dallas Cowboys understand that playoff football often becomes a battle of the physical in the trenches, and there is reportedly strong emphasis on adding a tough interior defenders capable of controlling gaps and collapsing lashing lanes. Coaches want a more disciplined unit that can maintain aggressions without sacrificing assignment integrity. The Cowboys front office, led by the owner Jerry Jones, continues to face enormous pressure from fans demanding a return to championship relevance. So Jones has repeatedly emphasized that the organization remains fully committed to winning now. And insiders around the NFL believe Dallas could continue making aggressive roster moves if opportunities arise during training camp or the regular season. The franchise understands that the patience among the fan base is wearing thin after years of the playoff disappointment, despite a strong regular season record. One of the most interesting aspects of the Cowboys offseason is how much attention the franchise has placed on leadership and locker room culture. Coaches reportedly want a stronger accountability across the roster, especially in high-pressure moments late in the games. So the veterans have been challenged to create a more disciplined and mentally resilient environment capable of handling adversity when expectations rise. So the Dallas has talent that has never been the issue. The really question is whether this roster can finally translate a potential into a postseason execution. The NFC landscape is also becoming increasingly competitive, which means a Dallas cannot afford regulation. Teams across the conference continue improving through the draft and free agencies and coaching and coaching changes are putting even more urgency of the Cowboys to maximize their championship window immediately. The analyst believes that the Cowboys roster still possesses enough elite talent to compete with any team in football, but consistent health and late season execution will ultimately determine whether this group become legitimate Super Bowl contender or another talented team that falls short under pressure. As a training camp approaches, or the expectation around the Dallas Cowboys remain enormous. Every practice lap, every depth chart battle, and every contract negotiation and every preseason performances will be analyzed intensely because this franchise lives under a spotlight unlike almost any other organization in sport. Fans are desperate to see team capable of dominating physically, executing efficiently, and finally breaking through the postseason barrier that have haunted the organization for years. So right now the feelings around the Dallas is clear. Dive straight into Dallas Cowboy update and see exactly what is going on with an American team, Dallas Cowboy. So the Dallas Cowboys are once again at the center of attention as they aggressively look to reshape their roster with a new move of talent ahead of 2026 season. With expectations rising and pressure building around owner Jerry Jones, the front office is exploring a multiple avenues to bring in fresh players who can immediately contribute and elevate the teams back into a serious Super Bowl contention. One of the most talked about names linked to a Dallas Cowboy is Ashton Gentry. He is a dynamic running back out of Boise State, known for his explosiveness, vision, and ability to break tackles. Agenti has quickly climbed draft board and is viewed as a potential game changer in the Cowboys' backfield. Coming from a Boise State Broncos football, he brings a versatile skills set that could completely the current offensive structure led by a quarterback Dak Prescott. Another key prospect the Cowboys are heavily scouting is Xavier Wolf from Texas Longhorns football. Wolf is a widely recognized for his innate speed and deep threat ability, making him an ideal candidate to strengthen a defense and open up opportunities for the rest of the offense. Pairing him with established playmaker could significantly improve the Cowboys' passing attack. Defensively, the Cowboys are showing a strong interest in Ajersa Newton, a powerful interior defensive lineman from the Illinois Fighting Illini football. Newton's ability to disrupt the line of scrimmage and apply pressure up the middle makes him a valuable asset for defense that already features stars like Micah Parsons. His addition could make a defensive front even more dominant in NFL. So in the secondary, the Cowboys are evaluating a Cooper DeJean from Joe Hawkins football. DeJean is known for his versatility, capable of playing a cornerback and safety at the high level. His football IQ and playmaking ability have made him one of the most intriguing defensive prospects in upcoming draft. On the offensive line, protecting Dak Prescott remains a top priority, and Cowboys have their eyes on Tellis Forger from Oregon State Beavers. Fuaga's physicality and consistency in pass protection could help to solidify the offense line, an area that has faced inconsistency in a recent season. So the Cowboys are also exploring options at linebacker, including Adrian Cooper from a Texas A&M Aggies football. Cooper brings a speed, tackling ability, and sideline to a sideline range, making him a strong candidate to enhance the team's defensive depth. As the offensive unfolds, it is clear that the Dallas Cowboys are not standing still, but the organization is carefully evaluating talent from across the college football, targeting players who do not only possesses athlete ability but also the mindset and the discipline required to succeed at the professional level. With the leadership of Jerry Jones and the coaching staff, the Cowboys are determined to build a roster capable of competing with the very best in the NFL. So if this potential signing become a reality, the Cowboys could be entering a new era defined by a youth, speed, and explosive playmaking on both sides of the ball. So the fans are eagerly watching every move, hoping that this new class of players will finally bring championship glory back to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys found themselves at a crucial turning point as 2026 of season continues to unfold. With the growing pressure from the fans, analysts, and even within the organization itself to finally translate talent into postseason success. For years, the Cowboys have been one of the most talked about the teams in the NFL, yet their inability to reach the Super Bowl has remained a constant source of frustration. Now, under the leadership of the owner Jerry Jones, the franchise is making a bold and calculated moves aimed at changing that narrative once and for all. At the center of everything remains a quarterback, Dak Prescott, whose future continues to be one of the most closely watched storylines in Dallas. Prescott has shown flashes of unerring performances, consistency, putting up a strong number during the regular season, but the questions still linger about his ability to lead the team deep into a playoff. Despite the criticism, the Cowboys organization continues to express confidence in him as their franchise leader, and there is growing belief that with a large supporting cast, so a Prescott can finally break through. One of the biggest areas of focus for the Dallas Cowboy front office have been the offensive side of the ball. After evaluating last season, it became clear that while the team has weapons, there is still a need for a more explosiveness and consistency. The emergence of a CeeDee Lamb as a true number one receiver has been a major positive as he continues to develop into one of the number and receiver has been a major positive as he continues to develop into one of the league most dangerous playmakers. However, the team is actively exploring ways to add another dynamic receiver to complement him and create a more balanced and unpredictable offense. The running game has also been under review, especially after changes in a backfield over the past season. So the Cowboys are looking for a more reliable and explosive rush